So here we have a warts and all video tour of the Volkswagen. It's a little bit windy, so hopefully the microphone, you can still hear me. So here we go. I'll quickly run you around the outside. In pretty good shape. The paintwork's in good order. Dave, apart from the bird poo, sorry about that. Dave resprayed it. I don't know when, but it's still in good shape. The paint's still in good order. No major rust anywhere. This door is a little bit low, but it opens and closes fine. Watch. It's just ever so slightly low, but nothing major, not for a car of its age. Got teardrop alloys. Dave apparently had the centre caps for those, but he thought he sent them to me, but he hasn't, so I don't know where they are. He might be able to help you. There's a charging point. So standard. This is done by Dave again. It's a little bit loose, but I mean it's where am I? There. It's a little bit loose, but it doesn't bother me. It's fine. It goes in and out. Pretty good to get down this side, but the paint's in exactly the same order as the other side. A couple of minor scratches on the roof where the sunroof slides back, but I don't use it, to be honest. I've never opened it. There's no major rust on it. There's a couple of bits that are just bubbling through, that if you were to grind them out and address that now, would probably save a lot more work later on. Let's do under the bonnet. So there's 6 Trojan T1275s, all strapped down, all connected up nicely. Terminations on the high voltage have been done with a crimper, and then about half of them have been heat shrink, but I ran out of heat shrink halfway through, so I couldn't finish it. There's the controller. Open revolt here, 500 amp, 144 volt controller, bolted down to the plywood that sits on top of the battery brackets. It is a warts and all. I'll show you everything that I would upgrade or change. That piece of wood needs to be replaced with something a bit more substantial. Stop this battery sliding forwards. There's a temporary measure that stayed there for about 6 months. So. There's the throttle, Rover 100 throttle. The cable is the standard VW Golf cable. The throttle pot is Hall effect throttle position sensor. That's a brand new one that went on last week. And then again, these are okay. They're just crimp terminals, but I would really maybe upgrade those and connect them properly, heat shrink them, and get rid of this excess wire. These are all jobs that are on the job list, but down the priority list at the minute. There's the COM port for the RS232, so you can connect the laptop up. The lead is here, but it's now not quite long enough to reach, but that's just a matter of moving some cable ties and making it reach. It goes through under and into the passenger footwell. What else we got? Right, here's your contactors. It's a bit of a rat's nest, but it's not as bad as it looks. It's relatively easy to figure out what does what. Down here again, it all needs tidying up and putting in an equipment box really. But there's your pre-charge resistor, which is you can follow the wires. Is in series over the main contactor. That's the pre-charge contactor. That's the main contactor. So this high voltage cable runs back, and that's the positive to the controller. I think it's positive. I'll have to check that. Yes, of course it's positive. It's switching the positive on, and that's switched by the ignition switch. Sorry, no it's not. That's the pre-charge contactor switched by the ignition switch, and then this contactor is driven by the controller. One of these yellow wires is the contactor driver from the that thing, controller. There's the 12 volt auxiliary battery or accessory battery with a simple battery charger on it, which just plugs in when you plug into the mains. Again, that ideally would be a DC-DC converter, and this space, the intention is that it would go in this space here. There's space here to put all this in, and have that. They're all the vehicle earths. They're fine, they're robust, they're not going to touch on anything and short out, but again, that maybe a bit of tidying up wouldn't go amiss. That's just a feed for a voltmeter, which is in the cab. That's the hairdryer negative, and the positive goes here onto the main contactor, so that there's positive, there's a supply voltage for the hairdryer there. This other lead is the positive from the charger, so that runs back down through the car to the back of the car, and connects up. The dedicated 12 volt vacuum pumps here, switched by its relay here, and this is the feed from the ignition through a fuse to the relay, so that relay controls the vacuum pump, so it switches on when you turn the ignition on, and when it's drawn down to vacuum it will cut out. The batteries are held down by ratchet straps. This one's starting to show a bit of corrosion, but it's still robust. Again, maybe something a bit more substantial in the future would be a good idea. They're held from going forwards by some metal brackets, and here you can see the metal bracket will stop it going left and right. As I said, this is a Warts and all tour. That's the washer bottle for the windscreen washers. The fitting on the underside is broken, so it leaks. So these are just blocking off. It's a T-piece that feeds the front windscreen washer, but then also it tees off and goes to the rear. I was just going to block it off. I haven't got around to it, but again, it's one of those things that probably would need doing. The front's fine, twin headlights and everything else. The car's in good order, and I would say that as an EV, it's in its prototype phase. Needs a bit of tidying up. In the boot, we've got a false floor. You may not be able to see very much on here because of the sun and everything else. False floor onto which the Elcon 2.5 kilowatt charger sits, and the feed for that is done on chocolate blocks back here, which I'm afraid I'm ashamed to show you almost. That just needs taken out, and a little simple box, with the decent connections would be on there as well. And under this false floor, over the back here, are the other 6 Trojans, which sit in that battery tray, which is appears to be on the piss somewhat. The battery, Dave built that. He said he built it. It's all square and true, but the floor in the boot isn't level, so when you put it in, it sits at an angle, but it's solid and it's sealed in there, so it's not too bad. Inside, the cover for the fuse box is off. I've still got it, but it's just I leave it open for simplicity. The ignition switch back here has been cut into for feeds for the various things that need to be fed by the ignition. The brake vacuum pump, for instance, needs to be done. The car itself has done 168,770 miles. The only thing I know that's wrong with it mechanically is when you go on full lock, you get a clicking from one of the CV joints, but it didn't bother the MOT station. It certainly doesn't bother me. In here it's a bit prototype. I've got a big red stop button, so if you hit that, the car will stop, the controller will shut down. What needs to be made is just a metal panel. I was going to do a simple build, aluminium, pop on here, and that can house the shut off. And there was going to be a voltmeter, but the voltmeter died, one of these cheap Charlie Chan ones. But I think probably because of an earth leak through the motor, as all of these DC EVs are, they have a leak through the brushed dust, if I can believe that. So there can be a slight leak, so you're not fully isolated between 144 volt system and 12 volt system. So anyway, that's I think why the voltmeter died. So the feeds for that voltmeter are here, and I've literally through necessity just put my my voltmeter leads in here. So I just run my DVM. My intention was to do that properly and fit a decent ammeter voltmeter or something in there, but I haven't got around to it. But, so if I turn it on, the voltmeter's a bit crap. It's a Draper one from the Motor Discount Centre around the corner. It's rubbish. But what it tells me, I don't believe it's absolute voltage, but what it does tell me, if I switch it on, you can see the pre-charge working on the controller, and that should come up. The car's fully charged, so it should come up to 160 odd, something like that. It's also going to go to 156. And then if I just go wait for the contactor to come in, the noise you can hear is obviously the brake vacuum pump. It is relatively noisy. It's a bit noisier now because the bonnet's open, but there is space in the boot to locate that. Next to the batteries, there's a spare, quite a large volume next to the batteries, so it could go back there, but that's a bit of work to do. But again, it's fine. You don't hear it when you're driving along. The road noise covers the noise of the vacuum pump anyway. What do we like inside? A bit rough and ready, not too bad, but it's a J-Reg Mark II, so it's okay. There's no rips or tears in the seats or anything. They're in pretty good order. Not bad. But in the back is our heating system. So we've just got a simple hairdryer, which provides about 2 kilowatts of heat. So it's good for defrosting. That will need to be changed because these switches, they don't like the DC. So really this is connected directly to the batteries through a fuse. It's just connected through the existing 13-pin socket. But you can smell the contacts burning. I can now, just ever so slightly. So that really needs to be driven by a contactor, just another EV200, to run that so that the switch isn't taking the DC. Seatbelts in the back, fine. Still locked in from when I had the MOT. There's bits and bobs in here, but I'll clear it up. The parcel shelf at the back there, I just popped in. I got that on eBay and just popped it in just to cut a bit of the road noise down. But interior is not too bad for the car of its age. It's actually in pretty good order. And the low points is the handle for the window comes off, and got to be a little bit careful when you're sliding the seat backwards and forwards that you don't slide it all the way back because it comes off the runners. I don't know. It's probably just a simple fix to correct that, such that it's got to stop. But yeah, all the heater works. Might be able to hear that. All the fog lights work. The heated rear window works, although I don't really use it. The stereo is a fairly basic one.
Hey, Lewis is sort of surveying these different
okay.
lands, looking for oil.
Headlight switch works okay. Windscreen wipers work okay. The horn can be a bit temperamental, but I've played around with that and sorted that out. That's not too bad. I think that's about it, really. So all in all, what you would be getting would be a lot of equipment in a car with an MOT, and that's been done in a technically robust way, but with some opportunity to redo a bit of the wiring and just take it really out of its prototype phase and make it a bit more robust. Just the simple things, really, little things. All the fundamentals are here and done. But Dave, to be fair, Dave did a lovely job of spraying it. You wouldn't know that he did it himself. You would think that it's gone from a body shop. There is just a little bit of rust down there, but it's mainly on the door. Dave said that he cut it out and redid it, but he couldn't get rid of it. It kept coming back. So I've had this for a few months now, and it's just starting to come through. So this wouldn't take much just to wind it back and redo it. And another thing that Dave did, he drove his camper van into the wheel arch. Now that it's not dented, it's just on the surface, so a bit of T-cut would bring that out. The panel itself is straight, it just needs a bit of T-cut. The alloys could do with a bit of a spruce up, but all in all, it's great fun. I love it. It's fantastic, and if I didn't need to be doing a bit longer of a commute, then I'd keep it. And if I had funds, I'd buy a lithium pack. But the journey I need to do, I'm looking at 8 to 10 grand's worth of lithium, which is just out of my reach at the minute. So yeah, all in all, that's the Warts and All tour. Lovely Mark II. Very low, it's quite heavy, and yeah, it's good fun. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully see you soon. Cheers, bye bye.